Hey everyone, welcome back.
We're glad you're here.
It's time for another movie review.
We're keeping it casual, keeping it real, and giving you our take.
So let's jump right in. Okay, Rudy, we need to talk about Texas Rhapsody.
We do. Because this movie doesn't feel small, even though it's built around very real, very human stories.
Right. It has that you're watching something bigger than a movie feeling. It's set out in West Texas, and from the very beginning, it gives you that wide open, dusty, tough, beautiful kind of energy.
Which is honestly perfect because the setting matters here. This isn't just a backdrop, it feels like part of the story, which it is.
Exactly. And what I love that is that this movie isn't trying to be flashy. It's grounded. It's about the people in the movie. It's not a big spectacle.
Which is refreshing. Also, important detail, this is based on real stories, not just inspired by random fiction. It's rooted in three true life stories, and the film follows intertwined journeys from Nicaragua, Venezuela, and West Texas.
And once you know that, you stop watching it like, this is a nice drama, and start watching it like, this happened to real people.
And that changes everything. It makes the emotional weight hit harder.
Definitely. And since we're being honest, this is one of those movies where faith, hope, desperation, and family are all doing a lot of the heavy lifting of the plot and keeping the story going.
Heavy lifting? Yes, but in a good way.
In the best way. Like, the movie keeps asking, what do people do when they're pushed to the edge? What do they hold on to? And who do they become when everything feels uncertain?
And the answer over and over is family. Not just in the traditional sense either. Family as responsibility, family as loyalty, family as the people who refuse to give up on.
That's a good way to put it. There's also a real sense of desperation in the story, but it never feels hopeless. That's what I liked. It doesn't just sit and stay in the struggle. There's always a way out.
Right. It acknowledges the struggle, but it keeps moving towards something more. There's resilience in it. There's a pulse of hope underneath everything.
And honestly, that's what made the film feel super uplifting without coming off as superficial or fake.
Yeah, it doesn't hand you easy answers. It gives you people trying to do their best under pressure, and that's way more interesting.
And another thing that really stood out for me while watching the film was just the cast. And I want to be careful how I say this because in this film, a lot of the people on the screen are not trained professional actors. They're actual real people. And in many cases, they're playing themselves or versions of their own lived experience.
Which is wild in the best possible way.
It really is. And because of that, it gives the movie this whole kind of authenticity you can't fake. You can feel when people aren't just performing the dialogue, that they're really carrying the weight of those emotions they're feeling. It's real.
Exactly. You don't get that polish, that overly polished movie rhythm. You get a kind of raw honesty.
And that honesty makes those emotional moments so much stronger. Like when someone is hurting, you believe it. When someone's holding on to that hope and that faith, you believe in that too.
It's almost the opposite of a movie where everyone's trying to be important. This one actually feels important because it's sincere.
Yes. And I think the movie deserves credit for balancing all of that without getting preachy or overly dramatic.
Thank you. That's the word. It could have become syrupy or heavy-handed really easily, but it doesn't.
Instead, it stays human, and because it's completely human, it hits harder.
Plus, the tension between hardship and hope is real, well handled. You can feel people making impossible choices, but the movie never loses sight of why they keep going.
Which brings us back to faith. Not faith in a religious sense, but faith in each other. Faith in your community, in your friends, in your family. Faith that things can change for the better. And faith that love and duty still matter when life gets messy.
That's actually one of my favorite things about it. It's not faith as a decoration. It's faith as action.
Oh, that's good. Put that on a poster.
Absolutely.
But seriously, that's the vibe. And I think audience will connect with it because it speaks to something universal, even though the story is specific.
Right. You don't have to live in West Texas or come from one of these backgrounds to get it. The emotions are recognizable.
The stakes are recognizable too. wanting to protect your family, trying to survive, and trying to do the right thing within your community.
That's probably the heart of it.
So, for anyone wondering what kind of movie this is, I'd describe it as a heartfelt, true story with a strong sense of family, real emotional stakes, and a lot of soul.
And it's the kind of movie that stays with you because it's not just telling you a story, it's asking you to sit with the people inside it.
Which sounds heavy, but it's actually a really easy watch.
And surprisingly uplifting considering how much it deals with.
Yeah, it leaves you with way more hope than you would expect.
That's a nice way to say it.
Look at us being poetic.
Don't get used to it.
So, bottom line, Texas Rhapsody is worth your time.
Especially if you like true stories, emotional family drama, and movies that feel honest instead of manufactured.
And if you want something that's heartfelt, grounded, and actually says something about faith, hope, desperation, and family, this one delivers.
Agreed. And it's on Prime now, so there's really no excuse.
Exactly, so add it to the watch list.
All right, that's Texas Rhapsody.
That's our take on this one,
Thanks for hanging out with us.
and we'll see you next time with another movie review.